Hello and welcome to Dissident Canada. My name is Tyler. Before I get started on today's topic, just want to mention the earthquake and then tsunami that happened the other day. Because if you really wanted to take the conspiratorial uh, take on what happened, all right, it you could say that if you believe that uh, countries have earthquake weapons. Now, it's not that far fetched. The theory of how you would get it to work is sound. And ARPA, and then when ARPA became DARPA, they both invested heavily into that technology, and that has been disclosed. So, whatever. I just pointed out because it feels a little too coincidental that an earthquake off the coast of Russia, right near Vladivostok, where a strategically important submarine base is located, and Vladivostok is also a port for shipping Russian oil and gas to countries all over. So you can see the little conspiracy there, especially when you build it up that, you know, Lindsey Graham's out there floating, what is it, 500% tariffs on Russia now. Really warned for that whore. Trump's at least hopefully just playing the game with a new deadline that would involve secondary sanctions that would completely destroy his presidency, but that's either here or there. You can see the conspiracy writes itself. I'm not saying I subscribe to it. I'm just saying if someone were to show me a little bit more proof, I could buy it. All right, you know, I could it's almost enough there with just the coincidence and what the events leading up to it. But there's never going to be any hard proof. So if you want to play that game, go ahead. I don't really care. Today's topic: Israel is losing political support like there's no tomorrow. Um, it's actually kind of ridiculous how fast it is breaking down. This may be due to uh, people seeing how untenable Netanyahu is as a political leader of Israel, and they're just distancing themselves and trying to sabotage his plans. Absolutely, that is a take that is worthwhile to run with. Um, like it could be just that simple. Of Netanyahu has become so politically toxic because Netanyahu and the hard right faction that he has aligned himself with refuse to just not do all the war and go to extreme conditions, like with the media piling on this last week with um you know humanitarian aid not making it to Gaza, and children starving. But don't kid yourself, that's happening. Like, this is the reality of the war. Just don't blind yourself to it. Whatever you think of the war, I really don't care. This is actually happening. Like, you, if you're denying it, you're you know really getting close to the equivalent of Holocaust denial and other you know similar situations, just because the Israelis are doing it. So maybe check yourself and your biases. Um, and there seems to be a ramp up on pressure to get Netanyahu to stop. You've got it from somewhat from Trump's side. He's more putting pressure on Hamas, but he has started to put pressure on the Israelis with humanitarian aid this week. Um, so that's interesting. Now you've also have several Middle Eastern countries come out and support a two-state solution that was rejected by basically all parties involved. What is it, 50 or 60 years ago now? Like, the two-state solution has never been really viable because uh, both parties see the the supposed other state as their own state. So it would just lead to war. But the fact that that has come up again and is being politically pushed shows you how far Israel's support has fallen. Because like basically my entire lifetime, the two-state solution, everybody who brought it up was mocked and derided for being stupid, because it was, again, unviable realistically. All right. And then you have France saying they'll recognize a Palestinian nation, or they did. And then you have the UK saying, hey, do this, or we will recognize a Palestinian nation. And now I am reading a news report that a source from inside Canada is also review saying, we're considering it. And you have like the CBC writing an article suggesting that arms are still flowing from Canada to Israel, despite the liberals denying it, because everybody's playing both sides at this point, speaking out of their mouth. But it seems that this is coming to a head politically. It's becoming. It could just be because it's becoming so politically unviable for leadership in those, say, three countries, and I would actually throw America in there too, of supporting Israel. Like, if you look at the demographics that still support Israel after, like, and by Israel, I mean specifically Netanyahu and his stupid wars, all right? You have to kind of carve it out that way. You're getting really down there. You're below 50%, even amongst, say, the super hardcore supporters of Israel, those being the evangelical Christians. Again, I talked about this the other week. When you get Mike Huckabee saying, we might be fucking done with you, politically, in the PR world, you've got some problems. Like, it's really surprising, though, to see the UK distance themselves from Israel in any way, shape, or form. Like, there's another story you could tie into that to see why Keir Starmer would do that, and that would be with Taiwan, where Keir Starmer came out and said, oh, if we're willing with the Americans to defend Taiwan, whatever it takes. That story that happened, I believe, last week. If you take those two in conjunction, all right, what you could be seeing is that Keir Starmer sees, specifically with Trump trying to reorganize trade and subsequently the Eurodollar system underneath that, which is the big important part, and really reorganize where the power players are in the world, that could just be the UK saying, hey, we would like a seat at the table. This is how we're going to play it. This is how we're going to force our way at the table. We're going to invite ourselves to your table for the future. As it becomes more and more obvious that there is a growing multipolar world, you're going to have like a China Russia faction, even though it's really going to be two factions that kind of work together on certain things. You're going to have an Africa faction that will basically play the same way that Erdogan does in Turkey. Whoever gives him the best deal, that's who he's friends with for the time being. And there'll be like a South American faction, small player, but the big daddy will be America. That's at least how it's being set up. And Europe is increasingly being squeezed out. So it could be just as simple as Keir Starmer and his team seeing what's happening and being like, we need to be at the power brokers table. Um, for a similar reason that Canada is also doing some of the foreign aid stuff is to pretend that there's still a power. Bring the facade that we could be in the power brokers table instead of, at the power brokers kids table. That's how I put it. But the fact that, like, in, say, 2 weeks, Israel has gone from having lots of tentative support, let's say, in, say, Europe and America, really. And now you're at, like, basically everybody's trying to wash their hands of the situation in some certain ways. Now, you still probably have arms shipments going on, like the CBC suggests, from Canada, and probably from the UK and France as well as the arms shipments from America. And there's most likely arms shipments from India. But I would suspect they're slowing down for multiple reasons. You've got economic impact, supply impact, and the political support impact of you know it's not there. And when you consider, say, France, the UK, and Canada now in this situation with potentially recognizing a full-on Palestinian state. I did mention, like, the political reasons why you would do this. Like, if you look at all three of those states, the um, next largest group to come up through the political sphere is not supportive of Israel. You've got the leftists that are supportive of Palestine as being a thing, but that is it's not as big of a group as you want. But when you throw in that you're sticking it to Netanyahu specifically, you can at least mitigate the damage to the factions who really, really do not give a flying F and are actually antagonized by any involvement in it, because it's another stupid fucking war. Not, that there's ever been a non-stupid fucking war, because most wars are stupid, fucking stupid. Like, even the American Independence War was fucking stupid. Like, the British just fought for control that they had already lost. Like, let's be real. They were never going to put in what it took to pacify America when you consider all the factors at the time and how much it would have cost to win the war. Could they have done it? Absolutely. Were they going to do it? No. Which is, it's one of those pride things for the English. It's why MI6, or one of the reasons why MI6 always does something, all right, to hurt America in some way. Whether it's, laundering bogus information to hurt Trump's first presidency, laundering information to get America involved in Iraq, perpetuating the Eurodollar system, LIBOR, and any other type of London bank bullshit. You've got that situation. But I think this actually backfires. If I get back to the topic at hand, I think what's happening with the hey, we'll support, either a two-state solution or we're going to recognize the Palestinian statehood, I think it backfires. Like, Netanyahu at this point is basically a rabid dog. Like, he is a mad dog. There's no other way to describe him. That, like, if you're being flowery with your language, you're probably going to come upon mad dog, because that's what he is doing. he is lashing out erratically when his troops and the IDF is able to, and just constantly pushing the war button. Like, there's a peace button right beside it, but he only can see the war button. So, and if you look at Netanyahu's domestic situation with, again, that trial that's upcoming, I believe in September, you've got a lot of reasons why he would continue the fight. Like, because if he stops, all right, there's no justification for him to be in power anymore. He's out of power. He no longer has protection. And at the very least, he is, slapped on the wrist with some legal shenanigans. Well, it's not shenanigans. It's completely justified at this point. And, he could be potentially referred to the ICC. Like, Israel, like the next power faction in Israel that comes to power may come to the conclusion that to pacify, Western nations and return and get the support that they require, or, to save political face, they ship, Netanyahu off to the ICC, and then he has to deal with that. So there's nothing right now that would pressure Netanyahu to back down. There's a whole lot of reasons for him to ramp up what he's doing, which, again, with all available information that I have seen, I think that's the path he goes on. And however this happens, whatever happens, it's not going to end with a whimper. Whatever Bibi does, it will end in blood. Like, that's just going to happen. He has shown that throughout his political career, that when shit happens to him and it's going to affect him, there's blood. I wish it wasn't the case, but if we're, looking at all the facts, that is the most likely outcome. Would I be pleasantly surprised if it wasn't? Absolutely. But we have to add the realist factor in there. And it's probably highly unlikely. So I will end things with that today. Tomorrow, I will most likely, the white pill will be on the ramp up on censorship and so on and so forth, because it is actually it's one of those double-bladed things of where it cuts both ways. It's horrible, but the reasons they're doing it are, the proof. I'll go over it. Like, there are hope you are seeing. Like, I have no idea what the fuck my last sentence was. That was terrible. Jesus Christ. The reasons behind the censorship should give you hope. Jesus, my brain had to just shit the bed for a minute. Anyways, until then, have a good day.